welcome basketball enthusiasts, welcome returning basketball fans, TB fans, whoever you are, welcome. Today in this video, we talking about my Lakers. I hope you guys watched the game last night against the Pels. Granted, the Pels did not have Zion Williamson, but that's okay. They had B.I., who actually has started to hit his stride a little bit. If you watched the game before, he was hooping. They still had C.J. McCollum. They still had Valanciunas. They still had Herb Jones. They had majority of their lineup, so I'm not letting the Zion excuse go. The Lakers, of course, dog walked them from start to finish. Now, they got off to an amazing start, starting off 15-2 in the first quarter. In the first quarter, we scored 32 points on almost 70% shooting, which is the best Lakers shooting that I've seen in probably the last 2 years. Now, before we get into this video, and honestly, this isn't even a scripted video too much, but before we get into it, please make sure to drop a comment, drop a like, and subscribe if you are new. Now, the Lakers, they got me extremely excited. I know that was a lot of extremelies, but that's just to convey the point, because this team has played the best basketball that I've seen from Lakers since probably 2020, since probably the bubble. And even still, I'll be honest, when I watched that Lakers team then in the bubble, there were times I was unsure about them. There were times I was unsure if we were really a championship caliber team. Obviously, they proved that they won a championship. Obviously, they're a championship team. But this Lakers team, they look like they're playing basketball with purpose. They're doing things with purpose. Now, I understand there has been a lot of talk about D'Lo and that he's not much of a passer and that Russell Westbrook is a better playmaker. I would like to really push back on that and would like to stop that narrative before it really begins and takes off, because I've heard it from quite a bit of people over these past couple of days. We had a Twitter space where they were telling me that D'Lo can't make an entry pass to AD. Now, of course, AD gets dejected, pissed off, and kind of takes himself out of the game when he's not getting entry passes, especially when he's open down in the paint. And the game prior to this, that's what was happening. AD kind of disappeared into the background, into the shadows, because he wasn't getting the ball enough. Watching the game last night, D'Lo had great entry passes. I even remember somebody on Twitter while I was watching the game, they were saying that the spacing was going to be awful with our starting lineup. And if you didn't know, Darvin Ham actually put out a competent starting lineup. We had D'Lo, we had Malik Beasley, we had Vando, we had Braun, and we had AD. Now, this is the lineup I kind of expected to be the starting lineup going forward. I love seeing Dennis Schroeder off the bench. I love seeing Austin Reeves off the bench. The guys that we did have starting are guys that I think are very good bench guys, next rotation guys, second rotation kind of guys, not necessarily starting guys. We got starting players here where our role players were also able to develop a little bit because they were able to start. So this is part of the reason this team has me very excited. Now, besides that, talking about actual basketball itself, even though we have not had a true practice, I don't think we've practiced at all since we've had our new addition. This team is playing not only exceptionally well on defense, but offense as well. We saw D'Lo and AD playing the two-man game very efficiently last night, getting lobs, getting drop passes on the roll. AD is able to get easy dunks, able to go to the foul line, and AD scored 28 points, only missing 4 shots last night, and one of those 4 shots was 1-3. Now, I talked about it before. I absolutely love when AD minimizes his 3-point shot attempts, because honestly and truly, AD should not be on the perimeter shooting threes in the first place, and secondly, he hasn't been the best 3-point shooter in the last year or so. So I'd much rather see him go in the paint, play back to the basket, go face up, do what he needs to do from there. That's what he's been doing. And when he does do that efficiently, when he does do that in a way that actually helps the Lakers, we end up winning more often than not. And if we don't win, we're at least competing. Now, I love to see D'Lo. He was actually getting people the ball. D'Lo is a scorer. That's what he's known for. He's one of those guys. But the thing that I think people don't realize is scoring and playmaking, they aren't mutually exclusive. It's not something that you can do one over the other and you can't do the other, if that makes sense. One thing about D'Lo that I really like is the fact that he uses his scoring as a tool to be able to play make. What I mean by that is he forces the defense to make a decision when it comes to his scoring. When he comes off a pick and roll, you have to be worried about the pull-up jumper. You have to be worried about the floater. You have to be worried about the quick drive to the basket for a quick lay. Those are things that D'Lo is exceptionally good at. Now, being that he is exceptionally good at that, he then forces the defense to make a decision. Are you going to guard me, or are you going to guard my roll man in AD? Last night, they had difficulties because at one point they were guarding D'Lo on the pick and roll. AD started to eat. Then when they started picking up AD on the roll, D'Lo started to eat, or he kicks it out to someone else. Or one thing that I saw, a little wrinkle in the adjustment that I liked, was AD wouldn't quite roll to the basket. He would pop just slightly, and when he would pop, you get the ball to AD, let him face up. Bando's coming back door on the screen for an easy dunk, and it was happening all night long. Now I can't wait till this team actually practices together, actually gets together during this All-Star break. I really hope and pray that the leaders of this team, LeBron, AD, guys like that, can get these guys together during this All-Star break, get us into practice, get us running together. And if you do that, you could build some real chemistry for this team going forward. Now, the West isn't so far out as many people say and or think it is. Though we are in the 13-12 spot right now, we're only 2.5 games outside of the 10 spot, and the 10 spot is only 1.5 games out of the 5th spot. So with that being said, we really have a real chance at this. It started with last night because, of course, the Pelicans are a West team. They're one of the teams that we're actually trying to take their spot. So it did start with last night. We needed that win. It was a must win, and it was a great win. Again, we started the game hot and we finished the game going all the way through hot. In normal instances, when watching the Lakers, we normally might finish hot, fizzle down a little bit, another team catches up, and then when we get to the fourth quarter, that other team is hot and we normally end up losing the game. Or we start off slow, we try to make our way back, we're playing from behind, and then when we finally get to that point in the fourth quarter where we need to make 2 or 3 more shots to actually seal the comeback, get back into the game and try to win the game. Sometimes it works, sometimes, which that's not a winning formula, but there are times that it works, do not get me wrong, but majority of the time it does not work, and we pretty much fizzle out because we've been playing our hearts out the last 3 quarters to make it up for being down 15-20 in the first quarter, and now when you get to the fourth quarter, you're gassed out and you're not able to hit the shots that you need to hit to complete the comeback. Last night was probably the first time all year where I saw the Lakers start out hot. When the other team did go on a run, the Lakers were able to match the run, not allow the run to go and then the Lakers go on another run. They matched the run. They didn't allow the Pelicans to go on a run without the Lakers scoring multiple times each possession up the court. That's something the Lakers are going to continue to need to do throughout the season if they're going to be successful. Now, like I told you guys before, this video isn't scripted. It's more or less me just talking about the Lakers, talking about my thoughts about the game last night. This is pretty much Uncut Opinions. I think it's a better version of it, so we're going to keep trying to do this kind of style for it. But regardless of anything else, I'm not sure if I want to go on the ledge and say the Lakers are going to be contenders. I don't want to go out on the ledge and say they're, you know, a scary team in the West, because there are plenty of teams in the West that are better than us and have a lot more chemistry than we do. Now, with that being said, if the Lakers do make the play-in, they're going to be a scary team not only in the play-in, but if they're one of those teams that gets that 7th, 8th seed, it's going to be scary for the top 2 teams. Now, in terms of Denver is not the best matchup for... Now, in terms of Denver, we're not the best matchup for Denver. They're not a team that matches up with us pretty well, so we could honestly come out of that series and sneak out of that series with the dub if we play them. Right now in second is Memphis. I feasibly believe we could beat Memphis. Memphis is a fairly young team, but I also think that those guys can be wildly inconsistent, while they can also make very dumb shots that will allow the Lakers to get into the game, because the Lakers have a lot more experience than this team. We have D'Lo, we have Bando that has been playing amazing defense. I almost forgot to touch on the defense that he played against Brandon Ingram. Now, we already know, if you watch Bando and you've watched Brandon Ingram battle it out over the last couple years or so, 2 years, I want to say, Bando has always guarded BI very well. Last night, it was nothing short of that, and I'm happy of the pickup of getting Jared Vanderbilt. I hate that Lakers fans, we had to wait till he got on this team for some of you guys, most of you guys, to even know who he is. But regardless, it was a W pickup. D'Lo, another W pickup, because he's a much more efficient scorer and playmaker than Russell Westbrook was. I'm not blaming Westbrook. I'm not saying Westbrook was at fault for anything, but what I'm saying is these guys that we got are upgrades from the guys that we let go. And that's all the Lakers really needed, especially when you have the greatest player on the planet and you have a 7-foot dude that can handle the ball, shoot the ball, dunk the ball, and play phenomenal defense. Now, it would be great if Thomas Bryant stayed, and we didn't have to get Mo Bamba because Mo Bamba did foul out. He fouled out in 13 minutes of play. But silver lining for Mo Bamba, this is the one and only silver lining, because we're not going to be negative this video. We're not going to do that this video. So the silver lining for Mo Bamba, what I can say is, despite your debut being not the best debut for a Lakers player, you had 3 fouls in 3 minutes, you had 6 fouls in 6 minutes. That was tough, but I can say this. Last night, you did show that you can be a presence at the rim on defense. That is very good, it is something to see. But also, we have to remember he's been suspended. When you're suspended, you can't even practice in the facility. Now, I'm sure he played on his own time, but playing on your own time is not equivalent to playing in a full NBA game. So with that being said, he does need to shake some rust off. He is a much better shooter than he showed last night. I think he shot 0 for 5 or something like that. But again, he has to shake the rust off. On defense, he needs to get it under control with those fouls, because we are going to need him late in the season with regards to the rim protection at the rim. But again, that silver lining is, I know Mo Bamba is a better player than he showed last night. I'm not going to say he's a great player, but he's better than what he showed last night. He showed some flashes of being okay for this team, and I'm comfortable with that as of right now, especially being that you haven't played a game in a couple days. That's pretty much all I got for you guys in this video. Again, I didn't really have too much to really, I guess, formally talk about, but we had to get an Uncut Opinions out there, especially because we are Lakers Nation over here. And last night was one of the first games where I was excited to watch start to finish, and I felt very good about the Lakers right now and going into the playoffs. Regardless of anything else, even if we don't win a title this year, and I've even said this on Twitter, I've even bookmarked it because I wholesomely believe it. If we don't get Kyrie, it's gonna be okay, because D'Lo is the kind of guy you get to supplement a guy like Kyrie. So I'm okay with not getting Kyrie in the summer, but if we do get Kyrie in the summer and we find a way to re-sign D'Lo, and we find a way to bring back majority of these guys, it's scary hours in 2024. That's all I gotta say. That's all I got for you guys in this video. Let me know what you guys think about the Lakers. I know a lot of you guys are Laker haters, and that's okay, but just know, all these years that you've hated the Lakers and all these years that your team has been in the league, they will never reach 17 rings like my Lakers. And guess what? Toxic TB is back, nigga. I'm talking all my shit about my Lakers this year. I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. Until next time, it's your boy TB with the greatest hoop stories and debates on the tube, and I'm out. Peace. Respect my Lakers, nigga.